All right. Ladies and gentlemen, believers, hivelings, and everybody in between, I am the outlier Isaac, and today we have with us one of the smartest people I know. He he's also one of the most opinionated guys I know, and I mean that in a good way because I've never been able to figure out exactly what he's thinking, which to me makes him which makes him really cool because it makes him unpredictable, and I like that. I like people I can't read very well. It makes me want to talk to you more and really pick your brain more. So today we have with us Duke Loves Wrestling. How are you doing, Duke?
Brother, I am black and beautiful. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm feeling real damn good. It's Friday. It's always great to connect with you. You're one of my great friends. You know what's interesting about you, Isaac? You're one of the few people on the planet that can get me for an interview. And I think if you
That's an
go
honor.
back to your archives, you probably have sat down with me and recorded, whether it's audio or video or a combination of both. You've had me just about as much as anybody. There's only one other person, EJ Christensen, who's had me about just as much as you. But I'm very selective about the programs that I appear on and the people that I sit down with because I'm the interviewer. So it's rare that I'm on the other side, but I have so much respect and appreciation for you that I move mountains to make it happen for you, my brother, because you're a great dude, and I'm happy to be here.
And I'm honored to hear you say that. The fact that because I still look at myself, and maybe it's because of it's a self confidence thing, but I've always looked at myself as somebody who's like, I just do this because I like to do it. I don't whoever I'm talking to, I just want to reach out to people and talk to whoever I can. And the fact that like I'm able to get you on, and the fact that you're even able to say that, because I know I'm not a big channel, so the fact that I'm not that I have that level of respect, you have that level of respect for me, is amazing, and I appreciate it. I don't take it for granted that you think that way. I
Well,
really
I'll tell you,
don't take
and
it for granted.
I know that we're going to get into a lot of different things, but number one, you have served our country, and the reverence and respect that I have for our military is it's deep. I come from a law enforcement family. I come from a family that has a long line of people who have worked in the military or have been contractors and things like that. Me personally, I've done a lot of work with homeless veterans, finding them housing, mental health services, employment, things of that nature. This is stuff that I don't normally talk about in pro wrestling podcasting because I try to keep my personal, my shoot life separate from the pro wrestling world because some of these people are so crazy, these humanoids as I call them, these wrestling
Yeah,
fans, they go over
yeah,
the top. But it's a passion of mine to show up for the people who have made the ultimate sacrifice or just laid it on the line for our country. I come from a government background personally. I've never been in situations that you've been in. I've contributed in my own way, but I have a tremendous amount of respect for people who served our country, bro, and so that's why I don't give a damn. When you call, I've never said no to you. There have been scheduling conflicts, but you
yeah,
notice I've never said no to you, and
yeah,
I never will, quite frankly, because that's my way of signaling to you. Number one, I respect you as a brother, as a man, and number two, I respect you as somebody who's you know given our country far more than what you've received in return. So again, I appreciate you, bro. I love you. You know what I'm saying? And anytime you call on me, man, I'm gonna do what I can to make the show up.
and again, once again, I don't take that for granted, and I will not take it for granted. I appreciate that. But let's get into it, Duke. So for those who don't know, this is a bothered man podcast. Now, what that means, and I'll keep it brief. What it means is basically bring people on, and I ask them what bothers them. Now, the thing is, it can be as unserious or as serious as you want it to be. Like I said, I had a pro wrestler Kid Bandit on here. She was actually the first guest I had on here, and she delivered an unserious thing that bothered her, and so I had another guest on, and he had some very serious things to say that bothered him. So that's the dichotomy I'm trying to present, you know? So, Duke, what bothers you?
What bothers me the most, because a lot of things bother me, right?
Yeah,
Homelessness bothers me.
yeah,
I keep coming back to that, but especially today in our nation, we got people are in tough shape, man, and I don't
absolutely.
think that they're being supported properly by our elected officials, unfortunately. Um, I'm not saying that about everybody, but for the most part, especially on the federal level, you guys are just not doing your job, and it's a disgrace, quite frankly. So that bothers me. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take it a step further. The thing that bothers me the most is we have a president of the United States, WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump, who
I don't mean to laugh, but I think about
I know
that. That's
I always got to throw that in, you know.
it's just carry on, carry on. What we're
Yeah,
gonna get into it, but carry on.
I throw that in because sometimes folks will say, "Why are you talking about Trump? Don't talk about politics." Well, he's a WWE Hall of Famer, so it's topical. No matter what I'm talking about, it's topical.
It is.
But here we have a guy who has taken federal agents from various branches of the government and has inflicted them upon the constituents, us, the people. When you have American citizens who are just walking down the street minding their business, and you have whether it's ICE or Border Patrol when you're nowhere near a border. Massachusetts does not border any other nation, but yet people from Border Patrol will jump out and demand, not even demand to see your papers, just snatch you up and kidnap you, for lack of a better term. Um, as a nation, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble, and I'm very concerned, and I'm very bothered by it. I'm bothered by the fact that all of these pretend patriots out there who claim that they have militias and all this other nonsense. How many years are they saying they're going to take our guns and you can't trust big
Wow.
government and all this
Not
nonsense?
as
Where
long as I
are
can
these
remember
people
hearing
right
that.
now? Where
Yeah.
are they? You're tatted up. You got every gun. You got every weapon. You want to cosplay military because you're not Isaac. You're not the real thing, but you want to cosplay military and you're standing up for the Constitution. That's what you claim. And yet, here we have a guy who has completely desecrated what it means to be an American. He has desecrated the Constitution. And none of you are anywhere to be found. I'm telling you right now, it is a disgrace. It's disturbing. But at the same time, I'm hopeful. When you put people in a position where they have no other choice, that's where you see things like the Revolutionary War. Unfortunately, that's where you see the Civil War. And I'm telling you right now, all of you out there who are contributing to the problem better smarten up. Because if you go back in history and you take a look at who were the people that laid it on the line, they were just regular Joes, man. Before we had a military, these are doctors and lawyers and teachers and shopkeepers and
And
what have you. These are
farmers
regular
and
people, farmers.
working class people.
Yeah, because taxation without representation, they got to the point where it's like, look, this country will not survive. We won't have a country if we continue to allow people to oppress us to this degree. So and I'm not saying, hey, everybody take up arms and let's go attack. I'm not saying that. So don't try to pin that on me. But what I am saying is we have a constitution that spells out what we're supposed to do when government overreaches to this degree. And I'm telling you right now, folks, mark my words. If these folks in Washington don't dial this nonsense back and start respecting the Constitution, do not be surprised when you see a true uprising on many fronts. It has to happen. The Constitution informs us that it has to happen. And the pretenders and the fakes and the goofballs, go to hell. The regular Joes and Janes are going to be the ones. And I'm telling you right now, Trump, you're the loneliest man in the world right now. You're the loneliest. There are people in your White House right now that are just waiting for the moment to hold you accountable. And I'm not talking about harming you. I'm talking about legally hold you accountable. actually put you through the system because you're a war criminal. You are a turncoat. You're a tyrant. You are an enemy of the state at this point. That's what you are, according to the Constitution. Don't take my word for it. Just go read the document. The things that you have done has crossed that line. And there's going to be a market correction eventually if you don't correct yourself. $300 million screwing up the damn East Wing of the White House. Are you kidding? While people can't even get their food stamps
What's worse?
to feed themselves and their children. Hold on a second, Isaac.
Oh, no,
To
no, no.
feed themselves and their children,
Yeah.
right? They can't even get their food stamps, right? But you're wasting our tax dollars to turn the White House into a frigging country club. Donald J. Trump, WWE Hall of Famer. Mark my words, my brother. Putin can't save you. You will have your day in court, a jury of your peers, and unfortunately, sir, the evidence against you is so damning. It is going to be incredible what happens in the end. I think you're going to be put in prison for life. And it couldn't happen to a better fat idiot, quite frankly. Couldn't happen to a better bastard. And your goofball kids and your immigrant wife, and I love immigrants, but according to you, we're supposed to just lock them up, deport them. Okay, so let's deport her too. I'm just telling you, brother, you have gone too far. Dial it back. I beg of you, dial it back. I don't want to see what's going to happen next. Just dial it back. Stop it. Stop stomping on our Constitution because there's only one way to go according to the Constitution. And that is what makes us the United States of America. So mark my words, the market correction will happen if you don't knock it off.
I agree with you 100%. But if I know, I love history, right? There's one thing I've learned from history. I love history, but I'm also an optimist. Like I hope, like, hey, look, like if his since history has gone a certain way, it stays that way and it kind of repeats itself, but it doesn't happen all the time, unfortunately. But in this case, I really hope that history doesn't, because according to history, I don't know if you saw this in the news. He gave he gave not only did he get one 230 $300 million for the East Wing, he gave 40 billion to help correct Argentina's economy. You know,
The
I don't know if you
Nazis you talking about? Don't they have a pretty strong Nazi population down there in
see,
Argentina?
this is why I like you, dude, because you knew exactly where I was going. Because for
What are
those
we
who
talking
don't
about?
know, post World War II, to escape persecution and in some cases literal execution because of how severe their crimes were.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, most of them were a lot of high-ranking officials who could get out of there in time, escaped to South America. One of the places they escaped to was Argentina, and Argentina has a history of holding on to harboring war criminals, and the Nazis are no different. So, and in fact, so much so that there's the allegation. I mean, I don't believe this, but there's the allegation that post World War II, after 1945, when Hitler allegedly died, he actually escaped to Argentina because mind you,
Yeah.
they said they never found his body. You
Yeah,
know, they
which
never
come on,
found him.
guys. I
You
think
know,
our own government would sanction the sale of crack cocaine in
oh,
predominantly black neighborhoods.
oh,
So once
yeah.
once you see that, we have destabilized the entire world many times over. These CIA campaigns. We've destabilized our own nation. We've attacked every leader, especially black leader that rises up and unites people. MLK, Malcolm X, Jesus, they tried to say that Obama wasn't even an American. You know what I mean? So it's not hard to believe
Well,
that Hitler escaped.
no, no. When I say hard to believe, I'm not, mind you, I'm not naive to think like, no, I'm not far beyond to think that that's impossible.
Sure,
What
sure.
I am saying though, is that if I know this current administration, they're going to do everything they can to make sure before they get out. But it's so crazy because, like, look, to protect themselves on the way out and throw anybody under the bus that was like, along for the ride. They said, no, like similar It's no different from January 6th, which to me,
Yeah.
watching January 6th live happen, I was looking at my TV. I had two reactions. One side, I was amazed that, wow, these are really sore losers. And then on the other half was like, those people are going to be in so much trouble. And then when I thought that, and then watching later, the videos come out of like people turning in their fellow citizens because, mind you, these people were. And the reason why I also laughed was like, yo, it was like, look, if I do something that insane, like break into the Capitol,
Try to
I'm
overthrow
not
the
telling
government. Call it
it.
what it is. Try to overthrow the
Yes, if
government.
I'm
That's what they
trying to
try to
overthrow the
do. Yeah.
government and
Yeah.
then it doesn't go my way, I'm
Hmm.
not telling anybody. I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, I got out. I'm back where I need to be. Let me just go on about my day. I'm not
Hmm.
telling anybody. I'm not posting about it. I'm not waiting to flag say, yeah, I was there. It was great. You had a plethora of people do this and then be surprised when these federal agents show up to wherever they're at and they put them in cuffs, and then they're all had the same excuse, which is the same excuse that those people had back then. We just did what our leader told us to do.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, that's white
granted,
privilege.
oh,
That's white
absolutely.
privilege.
Oh, no
You
doubt.
know,
No
we
doubt.
now
Because,
hold on. If there was a January 6th of predominantly people of color, especially
oh
black people,
my God.
they would have killed us all.
Oh
They would
my
have killed
God.
us all, or at
What's
least
worse,
damn
and
near tried.
what's worse about that, I feel like they would have done and then they would have tried to go after people who had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
There would
Yeah.
have been leaders, they would have assumed that certain leaders had their idea. Like take the
Absolutely.
honorable, like for example, the honorable Louis Farrakhan. He's had
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
history of inflammatory statements. Some, if you really think about it and use your brain for a second, he ain't wrong. He's not
Yeah.
wrong, but I'm
Yeah.
not. I was going to be honest. I assume his presentation wasn't always the best, but he's not saying anything so out of pocket that like,
In in a 2025 lens, he's
yeah.
not saying anything so out
Oh
of
no,
pocket. In a
no.
2025 lens, right?
One of the things I heard him say, um, there's a song called "Extradite" by Freddie Gibbs that I listened to, and at the
Hmm.
end of it, there's a clip of Louis Farrakhan's voice in there, and it says, and what he said was, he said, as long as they kill us and go to Wendy's and have a burger and go to sleep, they're gonna keep killing us.
Yeah.
But then he
Yeah.
said, but when we die and they die, then all of a sudden everybody wants to come to a table and say, "Gay, hey, we're tired. We're tired of this. We need to do something about this." And he's like, he's right.
It's embarrassing.
It's
It's
embarrassing.
embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
I want to take us on a detour for a second here because you just brought up Freddie Gibbs, and I have an opinion about Freddie Gibbs.
Okay.
Freddie Gibbs is one of the more talented rappers that we've seen in a long time. That
All right.
brother's skill set is so old school. He reminds me of actually an early 90s rapper.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Freddie Gibbs came out, let's say in 93, 94, he would be celebrated. Instead, Freddie Gibbs, to a certain degree, is ostracized because people want to pick on this man and give him a hard time, bust his chops, bully him because he's not quote unquote gangster like some of these other goofballs is. He's more of a ladies' man, of a pimp or what have you. Um, it's really tragic that we do that to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really
Absolutely.
tragic that that hatred, and that's what it is. It's hatred that we will take somebody who could actually contribute to the culture and move the needle, and we will harm that person in order to hold them back just because we're jealous. I hate to transition this way, but it's what's happening to Drake right now. Drake is the greatest rapper of our generation. You go Jay-Z and then you go Drake. And here's what I know that it stings when you hear that at first, but here's the thing about Drake. I may love Kendrick and I may love yada yada yada, right? But I know one thing. Drake's catalog, I can play Drake every single day, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what mood I'm in. And I'm going to find a lot of songs that will take me from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. That is incredible. And the ladies love him. Why are we trying to knock Drake down when Drake has put on everybody? I heard 6ix9ine say Drake gave so and so the stimulus package, and that's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? When you do when you get a Drake feature, brother, you're all right. You can buy a house. Why would we harm that person? So I think there's a bigger issue that I have here, because now let me bring it back to our original topic. We see the way these goofballs have exalted Charlie Kirk. And
Uh,
I'm not going to sit here and trash the dead or anything like that. It's not about, quite frankly, I don't even know who the hell the guy was. And quite frankly, I never cared about who he was.
which is so.
People,
Before you finish, that is the same story. I think we talked about it before. That's the same story that a lot of Black people had
yeah, we didn't know
when
who the
it
hell he
happened
was.
because and
Yeah,
then which is why a lot of them were confused when all those threats towards HBCUs went out because we were like, first of all, I'm pretty sure if you ask anybody, if you ask 10 people on any HBCU who Charlie Kirk is, about two of them are going to tell them they know who he is. The other eight are going
exactly.
to be like, I have no idea. So
Yeah, don't know, don't care.
now I know who he is. I know who he is because I honestly spent too much time on social media, but I know who he was. And to see that after his passing, which again tragic, after his passing, that the next day all these HBCUs are under threat. I'm like, first of all, go there and see if they can tell you who Charlie Kirk is. I guarantee you, half of them won't. Not because of ignorance, but because we don't put energy into that kind of stuff.
Listen, that bastard was Tucker Carlson light.
Yeah,
We already got Tucker Carlson. We,
yeah,
we we already have Glenn Beck. We already have those guys, right? Charlie Kirk was not as talented and not as interesting as any of those guys.
yeah,
And I don't particularly like those guys, but I would at least pay attention to them because it's
yeah,
like, all right, well, these guys are actually leaders.
yeah,
They have cultivated a real audience,
yeah.
and you have to pay attention to where they're steering people, just so you understand where people are coming from when they start acting up. Because
Right.
I'm a chess player, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk was so far down the line, he wasn't even important enough for me to pay attention to who the hell he was. But he gets murdered, and suddenly everyone has tears, and suddenly he's Jesus Christ. And listen, we could learn something from that though,
Yeah.
because
Idolatry.
here's what those people did. Well, they took somebody and made him important. Why do we tear our people down so much? It frustrates me
I think
because, go ahead.
I think part of that is part of that is because the last time we a lot of the times we do have prominent voices when they do get to that certain level, um a lot of us have been ingrained to uh to want to not even not well part of it not to see them succeed, but it's also kind of a security thing. It's like, well, we like this person too much, we got to make sure we keep them at a certain level because if they get too high, if we don't knock them down, somebody else will. In a way,
That's tragic. That's
it is
tragic.
tragic, and
Yeah.
in that way, that's kind of how I feel. Like, so I read Malcolm's autobiography, and
Oh yeah, of course.
so that's kind of like where I got it from there. Because
Mm,
if you read it, I'm pretty sure you have.
of
If
course.
you've read it, it's like you see what he had accomplished even when he was under the nation. But even so, while he was reading it, while he was going, he said that he could feel the the jealousy from Elijah Muhammad about him. The fact that because Elijah, mind you, when Malcolm's in his prime, before he goes to Mecca, he is like essentially the face of the nation. People forget
Yep.
that Elijah exists. They know
Yeah.
Elijah is the leader, but they're looking at Elijah like, oh, he's aged, he's not as fiery anymore. I mean, he still speaks, his words still hold meaning to us, but he's not out in the streets like Malcolm is. He's not going to these different places, and he's not on TV like Malcolm is. He's not putting out this whole thing about it. And then so to me, what it all it took for in Malcolm's case was, again, when I think about it, I'm like, I don't think he said anything wrong. I understand timing was off, because if you remember, the reason why he ended up in that separation from the nation was because, well, it was a couple reasons. One of the things that caught him in hot water was of what he said about President Kennedy when he
Sure.
passed away. And
Sure.
then when I read that, I was like, well, I mean, again, same thing. You didn't say anything particularly wrong, because at that time period, it was a heavy time where Black people were not surviving, literally not surviving speaking out. If they had something to say, they could say it, but also at the same time, but there was no guarantee that they were going to live to see the next morning,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
civil rights movement was still happening.
Right, right. It was right in the
They
it was
were
right
in
in
it.
the middle of it.
Yeah,
It was right in the
they were
middle of
in
it.
it. Yeah, yeah.
And then what he said was, and all he did, which is kind of what, like, this is so prominent nowadays. And I couldn't help but think about it when I saw when the Charlie Kirk incident happened. I couldn't help but think about it. I said, look, all he is saying, all we are saying. I saw a lot of black preachers echo this in a way, not directly, but a lot of us had the same sentiment. And I did, because I thought about Malcolm when I said this. All it is like we're saying, look, there's for some reason, this is what we mean when we say there's something wrong with y'all, because in the way like that, I don't understand how this has all been a process. We've been telling you guys, hey, y'all got issues. There's something wrong when you have all these incidents happen. And it's a certain demographic. They're usually non-POC between the age of like 19 and 25. And then most of their time is to say, most of their time is like, is spent absorbing all of this chaos, all this negative energy that's not necessarily healthy. It's just not healthy.
Well, the desire to conquer other people, and that's what's scary. You
It
know what I
is.
mean? The desire to conquer and control and oppress other people. And unfortunately, that has not changed. It
It
is
hasn't.
the thing. Trump is a shining example of that. He wants to conquer, control, and oppress other people, especially people who don't look like him. And that's dangerous. So when we see people, including our friends, including people who we for the most part get along with, we work with them, we can go have a beer with them. You know what I mean? We may have actually been in situations where we had to depend on them and they had to depend on us. So we have a bond. And then you turn around and you support a guy who spreads pure hatred consistently, just spreads hatred. How am I supposed to trust you now when you're okay with the man who says these countries where there's people of color, they're shithole countries? How can I trust you? How can I feel good about you after that when you support somebody saying something like that?
One of
You know
the
what I mean?
Yeah, one of the best things one tweet I've seen, one tweet repeated, and every time I see it, I like it. It is that the biggest problem in America that we have is that we didn't properly punish the Confederacy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We screwed that up.
We did,
We screwed
because
that up.
think about it, in Germany, not in Germany, right now, you could go to jail
Yep. They
for
come down hard on you.
they come
Yeah.
down really hard. You can
Yeah.
they come down really hard on if you try and regurgitate Nazi propaganda.
No
That's
matter
not
who
to
their leader
say,
is. No
yes,
matter who their leader is,
yeah,
right? It's not about party lines either. No matter
yeah.
who their leader is, they'll come down hard on you. You start trying to pull that crap.
And again, it's
You
not
know?
to say they don't still have far right parties over there, because they do.
Sure, sure,
But their thing
sure.
is like, hey, y'all can we still y'all can still do that kind of thing. But if you bring up that flag, y'all start doing like goose stepping through the streets again. It's like, nah, you're out of here.
They're not
You're
playing
done.
that. Yeah,
And
they're
then
not playing that.
what's so funny is that here, people here are so dumb. They're like, well, that's freedom of speech. They're infringing on freedom of speech. First of all, it's not that they don't have freedom of speech over there. It's just that that's in their constitution. And the other thing, they've learned their history. They realize as a country, you know what was so incredible? Nepal. Did you see what happened in Nepal?
What time period are you talking about?
No,
Yeah,
recent,
I pay attention.
like about a month ago. So about a month
No.
ago, Nepal, it's the country of Nepal overthrew its government.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah.
They overthrew their government, and the only video, the footage of it is actually incredible, because a British YouTuber went over there for, I guess, for vacation, and he showed up there, and all of a sudden the revolution started. So mind you, he's recording everything, and the people of Nepal are like gathering around him to protect him so he could document it. And he has a whole series about him documenting the whole time it happened. What happened was, they have two parties over there, right? Two parties over there, and and then obviously they have the upper class and the lower class. The lower class was like, you know what, we're done. We're done with this. We're not going to take this anymore. And they ran up in the Capitol, overthrew the government, got all the prime minister, I think the prime minister resigned and escaped or whatever. And so they ended up overthrowing it, fire, explosion, all that. But when it was done, the entire country as a whole was like, okay, that got that out of our systems. Let's rebuild the country. You see people of every party, every age working together, picking up trash, cleaning up debris, putting the country back together. And then they unilaterally voted in. They unilaterally selected, I think she was a judge or somebody, but they unilaterally selected a leader, a woman, mind you. They selected her to be the new prime minister and be in charge again. And so, and then they rebuilt themselves back up. I said, the fact that you as a country can agree that what is going on is insane, and then, rebuild together. Not half of you saying, oh, we shouldn't, not having you being like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. This is a problem. Not having you saying that is like, no, all of you got together and said, yeah, we have a problem. Let's fix it.
Well, our Constitution says that's what we're supposed to do.
You would think, but like, also the one thing I'm realizing is that, Duke, some of us don't know how to think. Some of us are not, there are a lot of people here who don't think critically.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are not, there's not a lot of smart people here, and that's not to shame them. I'm just saying we have a lot of people who can get locked in to a very dangerous line of thinking. And then with that line of thinking, they're unable to use their brains, so to speak, and it's like, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I think we're a great place. I think this place is great. I do.
Sure.
But
best country I've ever known.
Yeah. And
right?
It's like, and I think this place is amazing. And to see it turn into what it has become solely on the basis of I don't have enough. I want more, even if it's taken from somebody else. That's how it should be. Like, I've always been a big problem. Like, to me, those first three words in the Constitution mean something to me.
Yep.
The people, we, something that belongs to us. We did this. You didn't do it yourselves. And the fact that that there are people in this country who believe that they did it all themselves that they as one people did it themselves without the help of anybody else. Like, guys, like, if you guys read your history, your people wouldn't survive. If we're being honest, without us, without the diversity, some of y'all wouldn't survive as a people. Y'all weren't
Yep.
strong enough to
Yep.
survive as a people. Y'all are going right here and essentially riddled with diseases and catching these because you didn't know how to properly bathe yourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a historic fact.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
a
not making
historic
this
fact.
up, and it's like,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
unfortunate, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, and I had somebody tell me, and I've never liked the concept of, oh, if you don't like it here, you can leave. It's like, no, first of all, I'm not leaving because I serve this place. I'm not leaving this place.
Oh, this
I'm
is
not
your
leaving
country.
here. And
This
then
is your country.
on top of that, like the idea that you would rather tell somebody to get out instead of wanting to work together to make it better, because like this, like we said, this place is not. This is not a. It's not a. This place is in chaos. Is in chaos right now.
Yeah,
That doesn't
it
mean
is.
there aren't good spots, and those good spots can make it better. And because if you don't want to see this place get better, then I think, quite frankly, I think you have a problem.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, there's something really
Um,
wrong if you don't want to see this place get better. Because I want to see
yeah,
it get better.
absolutely. And here's the challenge, right? We have a constitution for a reason.
Yes.
That is our roadmap. Those are our guidelines. Those are our guardrails. We're supposed to color within those lines. We have a person who is coloring completely outside of those lines in a manner that my concern is not about what's happening right now. My concern is what's going to happen after this goofball,
So I have some
because
thoughts on
you've created a new, hold on, you created a new floor,
it. Mm-hmm.
right? Whoever comes next is going to build off of this degradation. And I mean, we're going to have concentration camps. We kind of already have it with these ICE raids and foolishness. And so it's like, whoa, in 10 years, in 20 years, what does this country look like when we've allowed this to happen? If
I
we
have,
don't
yeah.
correct this, brother, we won't have the United States of America that we had been led to believe ever existed. We're going to have something completely different, and that's a scary proposition.
It is very scary. And back to what I was saying, like I said, I know both of us love our history. The funniest
Hmm.
thing about this is that one thing about history, you notice it does repeat itself. It may not be in the same way, but it does repeat itself. And in that way, like if you really want to be brutally honest, the way that the way he has come to prominence is no different. It's no different than it's no different than the man from Germany. Because think about it, he came in at a time where the one thing for sure, and one he came in at a time of economic turmoil. Not that we had necessarily economic turmoil here, but he came in at a time where they were coming off the end of a um, where they were just where they had just received punishment for what happened in World War I. So they needed somebody to blame, which they did. So here you had a guy who said, all right, I'm coming in here, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make an enemy out of everybody who doesn't look like me. Because, like you said before, with the whole thing about shithole countries, and then we're going to get all these people out here, we're going to build a wall, all that kind of rhetoric points to, hey, we're blaming somebody. These people are
Yeah.
here to make your life worse. When in reality, that's not the case. in reality, here, where it's different from there, here we have a massive class problem in this country that nobody wants to admit. Well, it's not even that nobody wants to admit it. A lot of the people who are at the bottom are protecting the ones at the top because of political ideology, which to me is lame. It's very lame. I don't care how much money you have. Like, if you like, we're not the same. I don't care what, let me rephrase that. I don't care what you believe, we're not the same. And the fact that people are hanging on to the fact that, oh, he is just like me because I speak my mind, he speaks my mind, you know, like, yeah, okay, everybody technically speaks their mind when they speak every time, but you guys will never be in those rooms. You guys will never have that kind of power. You guys are never going to reach that level, not because it's impossible, but because there are guidelines in place that make it impossible for anybody to get
Yeah,
to that
that
level.
that
And it's
person up there does not want you there.
exactly,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Like, if they
Yeah,
wanted you
yeah.
there, they would bring you up there. And even so, and even then, like, why do you think, like, so I don't know if you're following the race in New York, but going back to what you were saying before about, we don't know what we're going to see here in 10, 20 years. I have thoughts on that. I think we're going to find our way going. First of all, this is not, I want to say this is not me wishing any negativity. I want to preface that. Most of these people around Trump's age are not going to be here in 10 years.
Yeah, yeah,
They're not.
yeah,
They're just not.
yeah.
He himself probably won't be here unless they create some kind of insane technology. But he himself is not going to be here because the man is not necessarily a picture of health, contrary to what people
He's an
believe.
old, unhealthy bastard. That's
Very,
what he is.
very
Yeah,
unhealthy. I don't know
yeah.
any healthy person living off of Diet Cokes and McDonald's every day.
Cheeseburgers,
Oh,
cheeseburgers.
I don't know. I don't know anybody. Duke, if you know anybody who's living a healthy lifestyle, eating that, please do let me know. Please enlighten me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
on top of that, ideologically wise, I think if you notice, we went from a level-headed Democrat in President Obama to far right ideology. If you know how a pendulum is, you swing, if it swings one way naturally, if it
It
swings too
has to
far
come
one way,
back. Yeah,
it has to come
yeah,
back the other way, which to
yeah.
me is one of the things I think we're seeing. One of the ways I think it's going to get started is in New York. You see the mayor, I don't know if you're following the mayoral race in New York with
Sure, sure,
Zoran
of course.
Mamdani. You see
Yep.
his ideology is they're
Hmm.
calling him a democratic socialist, which, I mean, if you look at his font, I guess that's the best way to put it. But the way he is winning this election, and I don't know, things could happen, but the way he is winning people over, the way he's getting, the reason he's popular the way he is now is because he is focusing on the issues. He sees, he is in the streets everywhere talking to everybody saying, what is your biggest problem and what can I do to fix it? He is not blanketing the entire uh
Hmm.
party by saying, hey, here are the he's not creating problems, and then say, here, these are the problems here, and I'm going to take care of these. And then, going about saying like, all right, yeah, he's saying these are the things that actually affect you. What things actually affect you? Okay, let me take care of those. And he is winning over a lot of people with that, which to me, I think that is the playbook we're going. And then, mind you, his ideology is he wants universal basic health care. He wants all these things. He wants free transit there. And he wants all these things to
I,
be
I,
make
I,
life easier, which to
I hate
me,
to, I hate to cut you off on that, but I have to say this. His platform is almost a mirror of Boston Mayor Michelle Wu's platform. In fact, he's gone on record as saying that she is his favorite elected official in the nation. and she is somebody that he looks up to. And exactly everything that you're saying is what she has applied here in Boston, and it's worked, right? More people of color are getting grants to not only start but maintain businesses in Boston, and it's working, right? So now you're creating generational wealth for people that didn't have that. They didn't have those opportunities on this scale previously in the city of Boston. We have a AAA bond rating, which means that we can borrow more money to do capital projects than, you know, more than any other city in the nation. There's no other city that's bigger than Boston in that regard, because that's how financially sound we are, despite the fact that we elected our first female mayor of color, Chinese American mayor, and what have you. She is kicking ass in this city.
I
So,
heard.
and she's a
I heard.
progressive. That is her platform. So she, Michelle Wu, mayor of Boston, metropolitan city, she is birthing a new generation of elected officials. So the gentleman that you're talking about in New York, that is a direct result of what has worked here in Boston.
And then it is working because honestly, and again, I don't know what the future holds, but from what I'm seeing, I don't see him losing that election.
He ain't going to lose that
I,
election
I
unless they fix it. They
I
got
was
to
gonna
fix
say
that
this, yeah,
election for Cuomo to win. You know,
barring something insane like that, I don't see him losing that election.
couldn't lose that election unless they fixed it.
And
Couldn't do
then
it.
because seriously, at this point, because he killed in the debate, he's killing just campaigning in general. Do you know he had an event on Sunday where he had invited everybody from the boroughs to play in like a soccer tournament
Yep.
on Coney Island.
Yep.
Free to the public. If you want to register, it's free. If you want to play in it, it's free. You can register as an individual, you can register as a team. And he was out there himself. Granted,
Yeah.
he was repping Arsenal, but I'm not gonna hold it. I'm not gonna hold that against him. But like,
Yeah.
but he was out there. He was visible amongst the
He was.
people,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
which I think that is what you want in a leader. I want somebody visible. I don't want one of the biggest issues I've had with Trump, ideology aside, is the fact that I can't I can't follow you in the way that like I can't there's nothing you can say to where I could listen to you say, yeah, I want to walk with this guy and see what he has to say. He doesn't
Oh, he
seem
preaches
trust.
hatred.
Yeah,
He
that's what I'm
preaches
saying. Like
hatred. You know.
he doesn't, he doesn't seem like somebody genuine. He just
Yeah.
seems like a prisoner. He seems like a prisoner of the moment kind of guy all the time, you
Yep.
know? Like
Yep.
where, oh, I'm going to say the popular thing because either I'm going to say the popular thing now because that's what's popular and then regurgitate that because I know it knows it gets reactions, which is
Let me.
which is essentially what he's been doing. Notice
Well, yeah. That's his
he's
big thing.
been running on the same, repeating
BS.
the
BS.
same BS over and over
Yeah.
again for the
Yeah.
last 8 years, and I'm like, and I'm not saying, oh, like, bro, you don't get tired. And I was like, well, he's also one of those people who think he's gonna live forever, which that's gonna be a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Like,
That. Good luck to that.
yeah,
Let me bring something up because I'm glad that we've gone this road. This has been a brilliant conversation, by the way, and I appreciate you for it. This is high quality stuff here. Top shelf. You and I met within the wrestling world.
yes,
We're big pro wrestling fans,
yes,
and we love to talk about wrestling.
yes,
That's part of our therapy.
yes.
I'm gonna use that word. As part of our therapy as human beings. Pro wrestling is a thing that we can go to, get wrapped up in, and turn the rest of the world off for a period of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Sidebar before you continue, highly recommend therapy to everybody. Go to
Ditto.
therapy. It helps.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anyway, carry
Absolutely.
on.
Everybody needs somebody to talk to, please.
Everybody.
Um, one of the challenges that I've encountered once I started doing media within the wrestling space is this resistance to legitimacy. What do I mean by that? In the pro wrestling space, especially media, it is dominated by rumors
Yes. Yes.
and the lowest
Speculation.
speculation, the lowest form of sharing information, because it's well, I heard somebody say this is going to happen, and I heard that this one did that, and I heard, and I heard, and I heard, but it's never you have the actual subject that you're talking about on the record, or you have somebody who was in the room who can speak from firsthand experience. Hey, this is what's actually going on. We had a situation this past week where Dave Meltzer, who is the biggest name in wrestling media history, he started his newsletter back in late 82, early 83, right?
Right.
So the man has been doing this as long as I've been alive, basically, right? I do a show with Devon Dudley called Devon and the Duke. It's part of the Duke Loves Wrestling network. So
Right.
wherever you can listen to Duke Loves Wrestling, you'll get Devon and the Duke episodes, and that's my primary show right now. I put a lot into that. I put a lot of stuff on the back burner to focus on that show because I want to help Devon Dudley express himself to the world in a way that you had never heard him before. Because he's a legend, but he's such a nice guy. He's allowed people to disregard him. And I told him when he first came to me, he's like, hey, let's do a show together. I said, brother, we will restructure the way that the world looks at you and talks about you because you're a legend. You're a black man. You've
Absolutely.
accomplished the only person who's accomplished as much as you is Booker T. You and him
Yeah.
are the two most prominent black figures in pro wrestling history, yet no one ever talks about you that way. And I have a problem with that. So over this period of time, that's what I've been doing with Devon is restructuring the way that people view him historically, and it's working, right? We essentially resurrected his brand. I'm all for getting the actual subject on the record, or at least somebody who's involved when you're talking about a specific thing. And if you look at my career in pro wrestling media over the past 10 years, I'm getting people on the record. These are the actual people or somebody in the room. That's legitimacy, that's credibility.
Yeah.
The resistance that I get from people who dominate wrestling media, 99% white men, is tremendous. And there's no other way to describe it other than racism. They cannot stand my black educated ass coming in and getting interviews with the people who they feel should never talk to me because I don't have a major brand behind me. I'm an independent. I haven't kissed the ring. I'm not out there trying to be buddies with any of these folks. I don't care. I'm not even trying to be buddies with the wrestlers. I will help the wrestlers because that is part of my makeup, helping people. But outside of that, I'm not your fan in the sense that I need to be around you and get your autograph and I need to no, I don't care about that stuff. I don't want to be a wrestler either. I don't want to work for a wrestling company. I don't care about that. I have a real life, I have a real job, I have a real family. Those are not my desires. Everything that I do is about giving back to people who have sacrificed something, yourself included, by the way, right? So it's not about this other thing that I think these other folks feel that that's what it's supposed to be about. So here's the point that I'm making. They have cultivated an audience to attack when you disagree with them. And they pile on online. They try to cancel you. I get canceled every week. They dox you, they do all these crazy things, and it all centers around trying to control you. And especially if you're a person of color, they do not like the fact that you don't kiss the ring. It is eerily similar to what Trump has done and how he has assembled power. He attacks you, he gets his base
He
to
call,
attack you.
he calls names. He's
They
79 years
they
old
do the same
calling
thing,
people names like, bro, you're a grown adult. You're almost 80 years old, bro.
bro. And
Like,
here's the problem. because one of the things that I butt heads with some of these goofballs, and I'm not going to name some of these media people outside of Meltzer because it's not even worth it. One of the things we butt heads about is I'm not cussing people out. I'll say you're a humanoid. I'll tell you, go, God bless you, good luck, what have you. They'll tell me I'm a piece of shit. They'll tell me I'm the worst person alive and all these other things. Just call me everything but a child of God. But yet, if I say you're a humanoid, which what the hell does that even mean? It doesn't technically mean anything. If you look up the definition of humanoid, it's a person who has robotic features. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? It doesn't mean anything. But, well, you mean it in a negative way. What the hell does that mean? Right? You called me a piece of shit. I'm not even a human being to you. I'm excrement. Right? But if I say you're a humanoid, which really doesn't mean anything, I'm the bad guy. This is a tactic that these goofballs, mostly white men, mind you, use, and they're pretty effective at it. And it's scary to see it in different aspects of life because you realize that, oh, this is how they keep us at a lower level. This is how they oppress us. This is how they take us off the board before we can really rise up. You know what I mean? They play these weird games, bro. In every medium, they play these weird games. And I'm not saying that, oh, well, Duke's a racist. He got a problem with all white men. Absolutely not. You look at my friends and you look at the people I collaborate with, what have you, it's the friggin' United Nations, right? I have a diverse roster of people that I collaborate with and that I hang out with and that I talk to and what have you. And we do it openly. I literally everybody's invited to my table.
But God forbid
But
you
I am
say,
going to call out the BS.
oh
What's
yeah.
that?
I was gonna say that, and God forbid you say, oh, one thing, if there's one thing, like how you started, like how we started the pod, the first thing you said was, I'm black and beautiful. God forbid, God forbid, God
God
forbid,
forbid.
God forbid you say, oh, it's like, yeah, I have all sorts of friends. I get along with everybody, but first and foremost, I'm a black man and I'm proud of it. Oh, it's the end of it's the end of the world. It's the end of
They
the
they
world, you
are
say.
they are very, very threatened by that. That's why I do things like this, strictly for the culture. That
Yes.
is a brand that is black owned, that supports what we do. I support them. I think it's a good message because the message is for everybody. It doesn't matter what your culture is, right?
Yeah.
You
I was
represent your
actually
culture.
speaking of culture, I feel like we've been talking a lot of before we get away from politics, because I want to pick your brain about some other stuff. If you have the time.
Well,
Uh,
we might have to save that for part two.
but one of the things I wanted to go back to. You brought up Drake,
Yep.
and one of the things. So the reason why I was why when you were talking about it, I was like, you're right, but at the same time, I was like, there's a during the beef that Kendrick and Drake had, something came up that I thought was so important, was the fact that um uh in one of his disses towards Kendrick Lamar, he said, you make Kendrick Drake said, you make music to free the slaves. And I've
You always
heard,
rapping like you're trying to free the slaves.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah,
said,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember, and I've talked to other people after that. I talked to somebody else who reiterated that he said he don't like Drake, he doesn't like Kendrick because he's making that kind of music to do that. And I said, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. So you're telling me you have an issue? You would rather you don't like the fact that somebody wants to use their platform and their gift and talent to get you to open your mind for to a different, not even ideology, but say, hey, look, we've been through a lot as a country, as a people. We've been through a lot as a people in this country, and these are the different things that have occurred within it during that time period. And I want you think you all should be aware of it, because one of his songs, like he talks about how like there's the economic issue of black people, where black people get money and then not spend it on anything of quality. He talks about that the song Wesley's Theory. You
Mm.
know, he said we should have never get one of the quotes he says, it's like we should have never give these people money because all they're using it for is they're buying chains, they're buying cars, they're buying all
So
this.
what?
Yes,
So
they're buying
what?
all these material things. Right. No, I agree, but they're buying material things,
Hmm.
and like to me, that's what he's like, wow, you know what? He's right. We need to use whatever money we do get as a people to invest and make things increase our infrastructure. That was one thing. So to me, the reason I had an issue with that because I was like, that's not, and to use it, that word slave mentality is like, that's like like we haven't been, in a way we kind of are, but we are not in that same way where it's like we need, where we haven't, where we are being oppressed, but like the concept that you don't want somebody to make, that you think somebody is not as good as you for making music, for making the conscious type of music, to say, hey, people, you need to start thinking, versus, hey, don't worry about thinking, let's just party. Like,
Well, let me
I'm
explain
not.
that to you.
That's
Let me
just me,
explain that. Let me explain that because I appreciate you bringing that up because that you're absolutely right. On the surface, that's exactly what it is. You know what I mean? What's wrong with making music to free the slaves, right?
Right, because
When
because
we
some of
talk
us
about
still have that kind of mentality, like where it's like
sure,
we're just repeating the same cycle as the people before us did, like, and that's all
sure.
because like that's some of us, that's all we know. It's like, guys, y'all don't have to do this. Like,
Well,
there are other ways to to survive.
well, here's the
Anyway,
deal. When we talk about making music to free the slaves, you're talking about Negro spirituals,
yeah,
gospel music. You're talking about stuff like that, right?
right,
Which Kendrick borrows from that, and he is along those lines for the most part. The point that Drake was making, and I think that unfortunately he just didn't do a good enough job at making the point, is that you're making that art, you're making that type of music, but I don't believe that that's actually who you are. Because when we look at other aspects of your life, you're very contradictory of it. It's one thing to free the slaves, to say, hey guys, we can rise up, we can be better. It's another thing to just completely crap on anybody who is being different from you, because you ain't going to free us when you're putting us down. So when we go back to even a song like King Kunta, what is that song really about? That's not about black people rising up. That's about all of y'all who are not rising up the way that I rised up. Your monkey ass ain't good enough. And we might as well just get rid of you, stomp you out, what have you, because no, we coming back and we gonna do all this. So if you so this is revolutionary Malcolm X dissing Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? When in reality, they're just different sides of the same coin. There is more than I tell people this all the time, and my background is political. Won't go too deep into it, but that's my background. That's my for the most part that's been my career. Also business management. Um, I tell people all the time, listen, I've been to countless protests and things like that. Um, I got the pictures to prove it. I was there. I was there for Trayvon Martin and blah, 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 blah. I was
yeah,
there,
right,
and I've organized so many,
mm-hmm.
and I was there, but I had to learn. You need people to be out there protesting outside, and then you need people to be actually implementing change inside. And the two are not the same all the time. And
Unfortunately,
sometimes when you're a younger person, you start off as the person outside. But as you mature and you realize it doesn't matter how many times I march and scream and hold signs and stuff like that, if we don't have somebody inside taking our demands and pushing them through, somebody actually has to implement the thing.
right,
And
agree,
we can't depend on the people who oppress us to implement the thing on their own.
right,
One of us has to be in the room.
right,
Many of us have to be in the room.
right.
So hold on, stay with me for a
No,
second.
no,
So
I'm
my
with you. I'm
point,
with you. I'm walking with you.
So I always tell people, hey, at this stage in your life, Isaac, you're not an outside protester, bro. You're an inside protester, meaning that we need you to actually usher in the implementation of the things that we need change. We don't need you out there fighting with the cops and getting maced and raising hell and doing all, bro. That's not you. You've aged out of that point. You're not as effective there as you are inside. You know what I mean? You can get more done inside than you can get done outside. So, but the two still matter. So let's find somebody else who does not have the life experience you have, who's not as old as you are. We'll get them to do the protesting outside. Brother, I need you inside. So I think part of the issue with, and it goes back to what I was saying about catalog. I can listen to Drake's catalog any day of the week, no matter how I'm feeling, and I'll find something that works and it'll last me the whole day. Kendrick doesn't have that kind of catalog. Everything is revolution. Even the love songs are revolution. And it gets to the point where it's like, I don't like the way I feel right now, having to listen to just this. Sometimes I do want to relax and I do want to party and I do want to dissect the emotions of being in a failed relationship, being rejected, being cheated on, being disregarded. I do want to think about friends and family using me and the loneliness that comes along with being a leader. These are things that are explored by both guys to a certain degree. I just feel that the way that Drake explores it is there's a lot more substance there than the surface of Kendrick, which is just rah 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 all the damn time. Now, that's preference. That's personal preference, and I think the two can coexist just fine. But to pass Drake off as, oh well, if you're making fun of somebody who is trying to free the slaves, then what's wrong with you? Why aren't you trying to free the slaves? Of course, the man just sued the biggest record company in the world because of their poor business practices that affect everybody, but especially our people the most. Right?
Right?
So is that not a form of trying to free the damn slaves? He's
No,
saying,
yeah,
hey, these are the
yeah,
things that these folks are doing against us that are hurting us. Right?
right.
And we can apply that because we have Spotify as podcasters and we have YouTube as podcasters. We can apply that beyond music. These same business practices that are utilized in order to give us the least for our art, even when our art goes viral. You know how many times I go viral, bro?
Oh,
My,
plenty.
my content goes viral every damn week. And yet it's literally percentages of pennies on the dollar directly from Spotify, YouTube. The reason why I don't do a video podcast is because YouTube, it just doesn't pay enough. I would have to go directly to the consumer and get the money from them, right? Well, here's the problem with that. In pro wrestling, the only way you're going to make the money off the consumer directly is rumors and innuendo and BS, sensationalism, which is not my brand. My brand is facts,
Yeah.
literally that's it. It's facts. People don't want to pay for the facts as much as they want to pay for the sensationalism. They
We
want
don't.
the National
We
Enquirer.
the story always sounds better than the truth.
Exactly, exactly. So I say all that just to say, I think people have projected their frustrations on Drake in an unfair manner, um, because he has been so successful so early, because the women like him, because he's soft. Can you imagine guys say, I don't like Drake because he makes music for women? What did Drake say about that? Damn right, I make music for women. I'm attracted to women. I would rather be in a room full of women than a room full of men. Me personally, I would rather be in a room full of women than a room full of men. I'm sorry, fellas. I love you to death. I got my friends and we cool. Women are not trying to scheme to take me out and to take my spot in life. That's what men do. Men get jealous. Men connive and scheme and hate you and things like that. That's just the way it is. Women are more likely to tell you the truth and look out for you and usher you away from danger. Men tend to kind of either lead you into danger or leave you while you're in danger. That's just the nature of who we are because we're competitive. So, no, if you're making music for the men and the gangsters and all that, yeah, good for you. And I can listen to some of your songs and appreciate it. But nah, I like that player stuff. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah, no,
like that
I
smooth
get you.
stuff.
I get you.
You know,
I get you. Last thing before we close out. Are you buying into the fact that the Cowboys are 3-1 and we can be as good as I think we are? Or are you just like, no, this season's a wash?
what Dak Prescott is doing this year, he should be the MVP of the league.
Okay, so we both
All
agree
right.
on that because
Dak
that
Prescott, incredible. His numbers, incredible. This guy he has proven that he is every bit the player that we always assumed he was,
yeah,
right?
right.
Because he has nothing. He has nothing. The Cowboys don't have they can't even spell defense.
Oh.
It's a disgrace. That coaching staff, that ownership, it is a damn disgrace. And that is my team. I love them. I live and I breathe and I fall with them. Okay. It's a shame that Dak Prescott is on a team that doesn't have a defense because this brother is having an incredible, incredible season right now.
What is
Incredible.
unfortunate? What's unfortunate? While you're 100% right. What is unfortunate? It's not that we don't. Granted, we don't have a defense now, but we've had decent defenses in the past. But for
Sure.
some reason,
Sure.
those defenses were like 2023. He should have won MVP if we're being
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
honest. But the
Yeah.
problem
And
with
we should
that.
have went a lot further.
Oh yeah, no, that was the other. Well, that was the other thing. That was the other thing. That was the other
Yeah.
thing was that defensively, like I think about that Packers. I try not to think about that Packers game a lot, but I watched that Packers game and I'm like, so clearly it wasn't it. But it was like then this year, our defense is obviously horrendous. But one of the things that kind of gave me optimism, like I didn't think when we traded when the Cowboys traded Micah Parsons, I was one of the few who was like, I was one of the few who was like, well, our season's not over. No, our season's not over. You still have to
Big
play
deal.
the games.
One player, big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many people was like, oh, you guys are gonna have the worst season because y'all traded away your best player. It's like, first of all, our best player is saying a lot as if Dak Prescott's not right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will argue with any Cowboys fan that Dak Prescott is our best player.
Absolutely.
Well, other than Brandon Aubrey, because I mean, come on, that dude, Brandon Aubrey's hitting field goals like it's like,
yep. He's killing it. He's killing it.
It's ridiculous. It's amazing.
He's killing
it's amazing.
it.
I haven't felt this way about a kicker since we had Dan Bailey, but
wow, way better.
Right. So it's like, but to say that our whole season was done because we traded away Micah Parsons. Like, guys, Micah, first of all, like, and Jerry Jones's analysis on why he traded him aside, that Michael is not a run game guy. He's a pass rusher, which is good. Everybody needs a pass rusher. But the problem with our last two seasons, and one thing I'm noticing, it's not much better, but there is a difference. We're better at stopping the run this year. We can't pass rush worth a damn or cover worth a damn. But like, if there's one thing we're good at, like, because when we played the Eagles, I thought we were going to lose to the Eagles in that first game because I'm thinking, oh, Saquon's going to run all over us.
Sure.
Jalen Hurts is going to run all over us and all that, and that didn't happen. Jalen Hurts barely threw the ball. If anything, we lost that game because of offensive issues. And I don't want to blame CeeDee Lamb because he's kind of turned it around since then. But like, that's how I looked at that game. It's like we easily win that game had CeeDee Lamb catches those passes. But other than that, we played about the best game ever defensively for just trading away our best player. We played pretty solid.
Yeah.
We didn't give up any runs.
I'll say this. I don't think any team wants to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. So you better do what you can to make sure they don't make the playoffs. Because if they figure out defense enough to make the playoffs, I think the Cowboys will be the most dangerous team in the playoffs.
Yeah, because one thing's for sure, we're already seeing we have the offense. Javonte Williams.
We have the offense.
Javonte Williams is doing his thing. George Pickens is CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I defy you to tell me a better duo right now.
That's a dangerous offense.
It is
That's a
dangerous.
dangerous
It is
offense.
dangerous.
Yeah.
And here's the best part: Dak Prescott isn't even running as much as he would before. So imagine this. Imagine Dak Prescott didn't break his ankle.
Yep.
First of all, if Dak Prescott didn't break his ankle, he would have 2 MVPs. The 2020
Easy.
year, the 2020 year where he broke his ankle, because if you remember, when he did, he was leading the league in passing. And then
Yep.
4 weeks after that, when his season's done, he's still leading the league in passing until like week 9 when Russell Wilson beat a pass him in passing. And then 2023, he finished second behind Lamar, which now I'm thinking about, at the time, Lamar Jackson was playing out of his mind. So I couldn't
Lamar is playing out of his mind this year too.
Right.
The problem is Lamar has the same problem that Dak has. Doesn't have a defense.
Yeah, which is weird. So are the Colts real? Are the Colts real, or is that just like so football season has been very strange this year, because
It's been great.
No. When I say no, I mean strange. I mean strange in the best way possible. And I say that because I don't know if you watch college football, but Vanderbilt. So in college football, Vanderbilt is in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana is in the top 10. There are, granted, Ohio State's number 1, but that's Ohio State. There are a lot of teams who are in positions we never thought they would be in. Like I said, I didn't think, like I said, Clemson this year, it's not good. Penn State just fired their coach, who's been there for the last 10, 15 years. They just fired James Franklin.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now.
No. I'm talking about college football. I'm saying no. I'm just expressing like how odd this football season has been, because you have teams that are normally good not doing so well, and you have teams that are normally bad doing amazing. The Colts, not that the Colts are usually bad, but they're 6-1 right now.
Bro, the Colts have a
Daniel
defense
Jones
that is highly effective.
Right.
The Colts have a highly effective defense. And
Right.
you know how, because I haven't seen one single Colts game this year, but you know how I know their defense is good? Because I pay attention to fantasy football.
Yes.
I'm in a league that I've been in for 20 years, damn near. In my fantasy football league, the difference between 3rd place all the way down to 7th place is literally 2 games.
Yes. No, I'm in a league myself, and 2 games. 2 games make a difference.
Games.
2 games.
This person has 1 more win and 1 less loss. That's it. You know what I mean? And so that is a highly unusual for that many slots to be that close. That tells you it's a great football season.
It is.
It's a great football season. It's what the NFL needs, quite frankly.
Oh, absolutely. Like this, I'm looking at the standings right now, and like the idea that, some of these don't surprise me. I guess Chicago being 4-2, considering the last 2 years they had, is surprising. Kansas City being only 4-3, is
man.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, because he's on my team. Kelsey's on my team. He ain't getting it done, bro. He is not. I have had him on the bench since week 3. Ooh. He is not getting it done, bro.
The Jaguars. The Jaguars are 4-3. When you think about the seasons they've had, they're 4-3, which is about right. But at the same time, like usually they're not doing this well. The Colts have the best record at 6-1.
Yeah, they got a defense.
Yeah.
They have a
and
defense.
Then the Cowboys, like I said, I brought this up. The Cowboys are 3-1. When I'm not, if the Cowboys finish the season like above 500, barring the tie, I'm going to think about everybody who said, "Oh, our season was over the minute we traded away Michael Parsons."
Sure. Listen, you don't want to see them in the playoffs. So if the Cowboys make it to the wild card, it's over. I'm going to put that prediction out there. Cowboys are not only going to make it to the Super Bowl, they'll win the whole thing if they make it into the playoffs. Don't let our team make it to the playoffs, because they're going to make you regret it.
Because because if there's one thing I've noticed about us is like, especially the only game we've lost, like kind of that's been lopsided, was the Bears game. Every other game that we've lost, we've been in. The Eagles game, we had a chance to win that. the Panthers game, we had a chance to win that, even though there's really no excuse. We should have won that game. And then what was the other game we lost? Who was it? The Bears game, the Eagles game, and then the Panthers game. You know,
But in those games,
we were in.
Dak was doing his job, so we can't blame him.
He did what he could.
You know,
and then
I mean?
The one game where I'm like, okay, he's probably going. First of all, even before the season started, I said, look, I don't care what we do. I just want Dak Prescott to win MVP because he's long overdue.
Yeah. Well,
he's long overdue.
Dak's stats are very similar to Tony Romo's stats.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Tony Romo was like the most accurate passer.
Oh my God.
Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls, but Tony Romo, he delivered that ball, bro.
Oh yeah. I said the same thing.
Ball.
I said the same way about Romo. I feel the same way about Romo, the same way I feel about Breeze. Is that the way watching them throw the football was like amazing because you know they're going to put it right in the numbers every single time.
Every single time.
And then the problem with them was that the problem with them with their narrative as a whole was that they just weren't they're just under the cloud of, at the time, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, even though like sometimes these guys are playing, like, you guys are putting them up top because of the season. First of all, I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, and you can call me a hater all you want. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady.
Thomas Bunchin? Well, the man formerly known as Thomas Bunchin. That's what I used to call him. And I'm a Boston guy. I'm a Boston guy, right?
I bring that up because, like, to me, starting your season 6-0 because when you spend most of your time in a division that's absolutely atrocious, and essentially going 6-0 at best, at worst 5-1 every year because your division is atrocious, and then getting into the playoffs sheerly off of the fact that your division is bad that's not competitive to me. Right. Now
that's not even the reason.
I know that's not the reason, but as somebody,
you know what the reason is? What the reason is? Because they're a bunch of cheaters, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're a bunch. Bill Belichick. Look at what he's doing in college now. Look at what he did before the Patriots. He is a cheating bastard, and when he is not allowed to cheat, look at him. Greatest coach of all time. You are a cheating bastard. Tom Brady had text messages telling people to fix the balls, and then he destroyed his phone as soon as he got investigated. That's a cheater, bro. That's a cheater right there. Give me a break.
Worst cheaters: the Patriots, or the Astros.
The Patriots. What are you talking about?
No. Because I bring that up because I know you're a Yankees guy like myself.
I am a Yankees fan.
And I've always held them both in the same way, where it's like, especially in baseball, because I think I'm more mad at the Astros in the way baseball portrays itself as this honorable sport, in the way of like, this is a sport where it's like they're unwritten, like you see people get mad about unwritten rules. They talk about unwritten rules and all that.
They're full of absolute.
I know they're full. I knew they were full of it because they charged them. They caught him. They did that whole thing where all these people got heat, and then it's like, okay, so you're going to take their championship away, right? And they were like, no.
And
I was like, okay, so you guys are full. So you guys clearly, you guys aren't whatever. Because you took away Reggie Bush's Heisman.
I know.
Took his Heisman away for years for something for allegations, and y'all take away all these colleges. Y'all take away scholarships and vacate wins and all this other stuff.
But you let the Astros
for
keep
allegations, but you let
these
guys keep their championship when they got caught. And another thing about what's even worse with the cheating, you're cheating on a team who's worse than you. The Jets at the time were stealing from the Jets. For people that know, the Patriots were stealing signs from the Jets at the time.
Hold on. Time out. That wasn't the only team that they were cheating against.
I know, but that's the one.
That was the team that they got caught cheating with.
Right. Which makes it worse. Yeah. The fact that you got caught stealing from a team who's nowhere near your league makes it look worse. You guys are clearly miles better than these guys. I don't know why I don't know why they needed that. I don't know why. It's absolutely embarrassing. But
man, we covered everything today, huh? We covered everything.
Oh, we did.
Covered everything.
We did. The last thing I was going to cover was like, do you have any answers for the Yankees? Because I, quite frankly, I watched because I watched the playoff series. I watched that playoff series with the Blue Jays, and I wasn't okay. I watched the last game, and I've never been so angry watching Yankees baseball in my life because I was like, okay, I understand. I understand. I don't know. I've never stood in the batter's box and faced 100 miles an hour. I never have. I
Sure,
hope I never do because that just sounds terrifying. But
sure, sure.
at best, at best, you know what I'm going to do? I'm at least going to take a swing. I'm at least going to take a
Or
swing.
step in front of the pitch at least. Step in
At
front of the damn pitch.
at the very least, I'm
You
watching that
know?
game and
Yeah.
I knew we were gonna lose that series when I watched Trent Grisham get up there. I watched Trent Grisham get up there, look at the same pitch in the same spot
Yeah.
and not swing.
Yeah. But you got to,
And
but
then,
hold on, Isaac. I have to say this though. Pitching wins championships, bro.
oh no, absolutely. Oh,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Pitching wins
Absolutely.
championships. The bats are going to get there, but
Yeah.
you if you don't have a every team that has ever won a championship in our lifetime had great pitching.
Yes.
They had great pitching.
Yeah.
And the fact that we let the Red Sox beat us up all season and then beat us up in the playoffs, who barely beat them
Yeah.
because they had good pitching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they had
He
good
had a great
pitching.
pen. He had a great
Now we
bullpen.
managed to get it. We managed to get rid of them, but it's like, bro, you let a piece of trash team like that smack you around.
Yeah.
You're not going to win the championship, bro. We got to get our pitching up. We got to
We
invest
have to.
everything in pitching.
We have to. That was like the
That's the only
biggest.
way.
That was like the biggest thing I had because I'm like, one thing's for sure, we're gonna get power hitters.
Yeah,
We're
of
gonna get
course.
power hitters. We saw it this year.
Yeah,
We had people who could smack the cover off the ball,
yeah,
but we
yeah.
didn't have
We could put
anybody.
some runs up there. We could
Oh
put some
yeah,
runs on the board.
yeah. But one thing we don't have, we didn't have that like when we bring in certain people, I shouldn't be like it shouldn't be like when Brett Maher. I shouldn't have the feeling when Brett Maher, when the Yankees bullpen comes up, the same feeling when Brett Maher was kicking, when he was our kicker. I was like, oh Lord, is he going to miss it? Is he going to make it? You know, and then he came
True,
in,
bro.
and then clearly we had the Brett Maher bullpens because we had guys in there that would make some, and we had some guys who would throw it away. And like we can't have that. We need somebody. We need a Brandon Aubrey who's going to go out there and every
Yeah,
time you kick it, he's going to get it there.
you know he's going to get it done. Where is our Rivera? You
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where is our Rivera, bro? That's what we need.
Yeah.
We need a
Because we got the
closer that
starting
can
rotation.
close.
Our starting rotation is
Yeah,
pretty solid for the most
but
part.
we still need in the middle of that rotation somebody who can carry it, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have faith in Cam. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but I have faith in him. He's young. He's clearly proved himself. You know,
Well,
I'd say there's no.
let's hope he gets better.
Yeah.
Let's hope he gets
Agreed.
better
Agreed.
because pitching wins pennants, bro. It's
It
simple as
does.
that.
It
You
does.
know?
Do you
Yeah.
have, speaking of which, do you have any picks for the World Series? Or you have anybody you'd like to see win it?
I just look, man. The Dodgers are the Yankees of the National League, so I'm always going to go for the Dodgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the Yankees of the National League.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm never going to go against them. I'm certainly not going to pick Canada over us. Give me a break.
That's fair. That's
So
fair.
you know what I mean? I'm
That's
just not going
fair.
to do that.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
So I'm going to go with the Dodgers, bro. I have to.
That's fair. I'd probably
You know.
pick the Dodgers as well because I don't know I don't know. Somebody's going to need something to figure out Shohei Ohtani because every time he gets up, every time I check my phone when the Dodgers are playing, I get an alert. Oh, Ohtani hit a home run. Oh, he hit another home run. Hey, he hit his third home run of the game. I
He's a
was like,
special
oh my
player. Special player, bro. Special player.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep.
So, all right, again, Duke, thank you for the great conversation. Thanks for taking the time. We got to do this again, man.
Absolutely, bro.
Got to
You
do this
know it. You
again.
know it, man. You know
I'll probably
I'm here.
Yeah, I'll probably call you up around the end of the year so we can cover just the whole year in review. That's probably what I'm gonna start doing with this new platform.
Cool.
You know,
Cool.
so I have
Cool.
just different people on just give year in reviews and just see, you know, predict what comes next, even though it's hard to predict because, we live in unpredictable times.
We
We live
couldn't
in
have predicted.
unprecedented times.
We couldn't have predicted. We knew it was going to be a bad year,
Oh, yeah.
but we couldn't have predicted that right out of the gate this guy was going to destroy the country. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen from here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I agree.
But anyway, thank you all for joining us. Thanks again, Duke. Duke, where can they find you?
Duke Loves Wrestling on everything: Facebook, X, Instagram, all your podcast platforms there, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Give me a 5-star review. That's the one thing that we don't get enough of. Like, folks, give me some fresh reviews on here because I'm actually giving you facts, and we're going viral. I appreciate everybody, including yourself, Isaac, who has contributed to the success of the Duke Loves Wrestling brand. In 2025, we made it into the top 5% of all listened to podcasts in the world, regardless of genre. Like we put up numbers, bro. We put up numbers. Our listens are incredible. And it's kind of starting to slip a little bit, but we are still majority female listenership. The percentage has dipped down to 55% female now, which is still interesting because, women don't make up a large percentage of the wrestling audience. But I try to do something different, just like what Isaac is doing here, where even though I'm talking to people in wrestling, I'm talking to the person behind the persona. So we talk a lot about life and life lessons and advocacy and things like that, which, it's an intelligent degree of podcast listening. So I thank everybody out there who are listening. If you haven't checked it out or you haven't checked it out in a while, please come back. We got some great stuff for you, man. I got some big names coming up over the next couple of months, some very, very big names, some people who are pro wrestlers and movie stars, some people in the entertainment world who are wrestling fans. So stay tuned. I keep offering Isaac some big names for him to interview. One of these days, he's going to take me up on my offer.
I don't know.
I'll send you some of these folks, bro.
Yeah, by all means.
I'll send you some of these folks.
Them.
You know what I mean?
Send them right after, because like I said, that the goal of this is I want people to see, like you were saying, like, look, that's why I had to preface at the beginning. It's serious and unserious. We can get as serious or as unserious as you want it to be, I try and keep it unserious, but I'm not going to ignore the fact that, hey, we're going through some serious times right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you gotta find that balance. But yeah. Here we'll talk about that after once we finish recording. So yeah. So everybody, again, thank y'all for joining us. We will see you next time.